15 months ago, I did the thing that everyone advises you not to do. I jumped in as a full-time video game developer, even though I have never released a commercially viable game or even a game at all. So I gave myself about 15 months to figure this thing out, and we're now at the end of that initial financial runway. So I wanted to talk about what happened, where I am now, and what it's going to mean going forwards. This is been an exciting year for me, though, and I am really happy to share all the crazy things that have been going on. I've been working on games for 7, 8 years, and I've been doing a lot of this at a hobbyist level. One of the big things I started doing was the 20 Games Challenge, which was me teaching myself to make video games. There's a whole website for it if you're not familiar with this, but it's remaking existing games to learn how to make games. The goal was always to get into the industry full time. And more than that, I am here as a Christian. Uh, Jesus saved my life, and I want to be able to talk about him in this space. And I've been learning there is, going all the way back to the 90s, there is a division between church culture and gaming culture, and it feels like there's a lot of broken things that need to be healed. And I wanted to be able to be a part of that reconciliation as being a bridge between these two worlds. So there's a lot that I wanted to do in this industry, not just making games. But I started praying a couple years ago. I was reading about this guy, Elijah, who he changed the course of a nation not through his actions, but through his prayers. And so I wanted to start praying big things and then also doing big things and trying to trusting that if I do one, that the other will, yeah, good things will also come from that. So I started praying that we would see 10,000 Christian games or Christian made games by the end of the decade. And just biggest number I could think of that was impossible but not ridiculous. And started praying to that end and started wanting to get involved and seeing what can I do to help make this happen. And I was feeling a contradiction because I was not doing this full time. I'm a hobbyist trying to make this work and don't have a lot of time and wanted to go in all the way. My wife was saying, "You are the breadwinner. Do not quit your job." And I said, "I promise I will not quit my job." And so instead, I was praying, "God, I would love it if I could go full time. Can you make that happen?" And so in June of 2024, I was laid off from Seagate in answer to my prayers. Yeah, that was, I should have thought that one through. Oops. But so, yeah, now I am, I'm full time. You know, after 8 years of doing this, I had a bit of severance runway. The other cool thing though is because I was laid off, I was able to get onto the Climb program, which it takes unemployment insurance and gives it to entrepreneurs and says you don't have to look for work, but you need to work on building your business, and we will pay you to do that. So for the past year, I have been getting paid by the government to make video games, which is an incredible thing to say. I mean, how many people get that opportunity? So I have been trying to get to a first commercially viable game. That's not ultimately my mission to just make games that make money, but I needed to do that as a important first step to be able to keep making games and to be able to try other things too. So I was working on a game at the time called Space Rock Survivors, which was a Vampire Survivors remake that I did for the 20 Games Challenge, but the base game was Asteroids. So if you're familiar with Vampire Survivors, it is super simple core game loop, and then there's all of these upgrade cycles that happen. And I did the same thing, except the core game loop was Asteroids, and I thought it was super fun. And I'm like, I'm just gonna make this in a few months, get it out there, first game, and then learn from it and keep going. And I was learning how to manage scope, and it should have taken 3 months. I feel like it still could now that I know what I know today, but I was like, this is going to take longer. I should maybe consider, is this the right game to be making? I also was doubting if this is the right game. I was like, it seems like the Vampire Survivors thing is a fad and people have already made these remakes and maybe I should move on. Turns out, no, this is a new subgenre and somebody made the exact game I was trying to make and it made as much money as I would have needed to be solvent. Oops, that was a mistake. Instead, I decided to focus on another remake I had done. This one was of the old Flash game Motherlode, and I was going to make my spiritual successor to this game. Who doesn't love a spiritual successor? So started working on Terminal Bore, and I ended up spending a total of 8 months on it. At the same time, I started taking an actual marketing class. I'd never done this before, so I was learning a whole bunch of things. And one thing that I kept hearing over and over again in the marketing class is the most important thing when marketing a game is the game itself. That is everything. You can't market a bad game and expect it to be successful. And every time I would post about my game or talk about my game, people would say, that's interesting. Or they'd even say, actually, that isn't interesting. Why don't you add something to it that is more than just a remake? And after 8 months of working on this, I could not actually tell you what was unique about my game. I didn't have a super unique design. And so I was going to release it in our demo in October. Didn't happen. Demo in February didn't happen. It ended up being a demo came out in June for the Next Fest. But I was like, I don't feel confident anymore in this game. So I'm going to take a little bit of time, do just a second small project. So I have my eggs aren't all in one basket, and then we'll see what happens. And gave myself 2 weeks, ended up taking six, but I made a demo for a game called Black Hole Fishing. And this is an incremental game. So if you're familiar with Cookie Clicker, it's in that same genre. And it's a game about catching fish with a black hole. It's kind of ridiculous and hilarious. And immediately I got a very, very different response to that game. When I was posting about terminal bore, people would say that looks interesting. When I would post about black hole fishing, people would say that looks amazing. And so right now, terminal bore still has like 300 wish lists. That is the main metric to know if a game is going to be successful on Steam. You want about 6,000 at launch, and black hole fishing hit like 1,500. So it had much, much more. I'm not at the point where if I release it today, it will be successful, but I'm at the point where it feels like it is getting closer. So I had a lot of more hope in this one, and this ended up taking the lead and became my main project. At the same time, I also did a couple other game jams and things. I'm not going to be able to talk about everything that happened because it was a very full year, but had a lot of really, really good experiences, and ended up reaching the point where I said, okay, this is I made it through the climb program. I took that full grant I got, finished all of that severance pay and everything, and so now we are actually on our savings and starting to run down a little bit. So talked to my wife and she said, why don't we say after the Christian Game Developer Conference, you start looking for other work. And so I agreed to that. So that was going into July. So 13 months after I went full time, I was going to stop being full time. And that was the end of this journey, unless something changed. But I went into the conference with a lot of excitement and hope because every single time I talked to any trusted individual, I had so many advisors that I kept sitting down with and just saying, hey, here's my plan, here's my numbers, here's everything. What do you think? And everyone kept saying, keep going. This is the right thing to do. So went into the conference with a lot of hope, but also knowing this is the end of the road for me. And it was kind of funny. Like I show up, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday conference, and get there Thursday night and meeting people in the hotel lobby, and I'm showing up with my little business cards that I made that I literally did the $5 print and rip cards. I couldn't even afford the $8 ones. Yeah, it turns out people judge you on your business cards. Oops. But like one of the first conversations I had, I think it's like the fourth person I talked to, I mentioned him like, yeah, I have this little game, Black Hole Fishing, and if you're familiar with Cookie Clicker, and he said, yeah, we publish Cookie Clicker on Steam. And I'm just like, oh yes, I am in the industry. These are people who I really want to be getting to know. Um, so that was a cool start. But, it's funny. I had so much peace being at the conference that I didn't even think about conversations like that one and go, ooh, there could be business value here. I was just like, man, these people have the same heart that I do. And it is so amazing to see that. So the next day we had the opening session and they started with a time of prayer, and we had the opportunity to ask the question, what is my mission right now? And I pretty clearly heard that my mission is to develop the developers, which is in line with everything I had been praying and thinking and doing before, but it was not something I had fully realized. To be honest, a lot of times I would put 80% of my effort into whatever I was doing because I was always looking forward to the next thing. And like when I'm making these YouTube videos, I'm like, man, YouTube is not going to be the thing. It's going to be releasing games. And then I start working on a game and I go, maybe making games isn't the thing. Maybe I should be teaching. Maybe I should do this, that, the other. So everything was getting less than 100%. And I really wanted to come to the conference and go, okay, what is the thing that I should be doing? And I had some really cool conversations about that. And I came away with the slightly disappointing answer that all of it is important right now. I am not in a season of pruning. I am in a season, I've been planting things for a year, and I'm in a season of growth, and I need to stay the course with all of these things, and they will come together eventually, but I'm being pulled in a few directions, and that's okay. And so that was super encouraging to hear. I started making a whole bunch of friends, getting to meet a whole bunch of people, and it was really cool. At the end of the conference, I had my car, I'd say, broke down. The battery died. I bumped the light and left it on, so I had to get a tow truck out, and was sitting there till 1 a.m. and ended up hanging out in the hotel lobby that last day with like the first Christian game developer who's been doing this for 40 years, and board members from this conference, and all these other people who have been doing this for such a long time and who have been friends for such a long time. And I show up and we are all just sitting around having conversations like we've known each other for 10 years. And at the end of it, I get up to leave. I'm like, okay, 1 a.m. I gotta go. I have to be up early, 10-hour drive home. And everyone gets up to give me a hug, and they're like, okay, like, we will see you next year. It's so good that you're part of this now. And it was just such an incredible, like, welcome to the family moment. It's funny, I actually showed up twice on their website now. I mean, it wasn't a huge conference, but it was still pretty big, so it's funny. But yeah, I was able to become a part of a community over those 72 hours, and I'm still a solo developer, but I went from I'm a solo developer doing it on my own to I'm a solo developer who is a part of a larger community, and we are all working towards the same mission. So that was just so encouraging. And I came home and I was like, I don't know how things are going to work out, but I believe that they will. And so one of the things I immediately did was I joined in on the community game. This is a effort that they do. This doesn't help me financially, but it is a volunteer project where every year the community comes together to make a game. And so full-time people, hobbyists, all across the spectrum, they come in and they learn to work together and they produce something together. And there was a lot of, it's about building the community, which is where I believe my mission is going forward. So that was a really cool thing. And I became really good friends with the development lead. So not the lead of the entire project, but specifically the programming and stuff. And he realized I had some experience that was helpful, and we started having a lot of conversations. And the really amazing thing is he started recommending me to people and opening doors. And so there's a group of people that were there. Basically, they set it up like, if you're familiar with C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, they had a writing club called the Inklings. There's some other people there, and they gathered together and they would review each other's work. And they said, we are Christians and we are professionals, and we are here to talk about these things that we are making. And so I got invited into this group as the sixth person. And man, to have somebody call you up and go, hey, I heard I heard your name and I believe you are a good fit for this, was just so amazing, and humbling to know that I've reached the point where people are speaking that way about me behind my back. So that was really, really cool. I was also able to join another related community that is focusing on the long-term vision, which is kind of what I was praying about at the beginning. And they're saying, where do we want to see the games industry in 100 years, and then what's the 5-year plan to work in that direction? And so I've been able to start having really cool conversations there too. And so it's been an amazing journey this so far. But as all this was happening, I got called up from the first person I met at the beginning of the conference, and he said, "Hey, we PlaySource, we want to publish Black Hole Fishing. They have a whole rich history of games that they've done, and they have so much experience in the industry and all of the things that I'm lacking they have, and they're excited about my game, and they're like, man, this is going to be so amazing when it launches, and so many people are going to play it and are going to enjoy it, and we have the resources and the ability, and we want to help. And so I just today signed that contract and am now engaged in this relationship with them, and they're going to be able to help with all those things that I knew from the marketing class I should have done, like translating the game and marketing the game properly, having a real trailer, all that stuff. They can do that, and they are willing and able to help with those things. And then we're going to work together, and we're going to release this jointly. And as a part of that, they're also helping me financially to be able to continue making the game. So that question of what am I going to do to keep providing for the family as I'm trying to also, get into this industry? Well, that's the answer. I'm going to be making this game full time, and that is my job now. And I'm also going to be doing these other things on the side, but this is going to be the primary focus for a little while. So I'm going to be coming back. I've actually been updating the 20 Games Challenge website. That's something that community has been really vibrant and growing, and I've been promising them an update for a while. Also, like I said, I'm now a part of this community game, and I've been helping there, and was recently asked to jump into an even larger role, which is incredible that they trust me that much after like 2 months. I mean, I didn't work on their previous games. It's my first time through this. But yeah, I've been in a season of planting for a long time, and now I'm in a season of harvesting. And my main worry is that there isn't enough of me to go around, and I might not be able to harvest everything that's growing. It is a incredible, crazy place to be. And so that's my update. I This is going to be my last video for a little while because I am juggling four things now, and the YouTube channel is the fourth thing, and it's the thing that it isn't urgent. So I want to come back and I want to start making tutorials again and some of that content, and not just do that as a side thing, but do that and really do it well and focus on it. But I can't do that now when I'm also launching my first game. And really, if I want to teach, I should be teaching from a place of I have been successful. Let me show you what I did, not let's just wing it together. So I'm going to be, this will be my last video for a while, but I will be back. And I want you all to know that things are going so incredibly well. And I am so thankful for everyone, both, people here, viewers, and also, uh, family, friends, all the people who are supporting me and walking with me through this journey. And wow, I have been a full-time game developer. It was weird when I got to say that the first time, but now I can say I am continuing to be full-time, and I am successful. And there's no sign that that's going to stop anytime soon. So I believe I will be doing this for a long time, and I am so thankful that I was able to make that jump, because ultimately it wasn't me. It was the prayers I was praying. It was God watching out for me, and it was the Christian Game Developers Conference and the people that I met at the right time who saw what I was doing and said it's good, and that was amazing. So that's it for my update. I signing off for a while, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.